Hello.
By the way, Rob will not be joining today as well.
Okay. Rob not running, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe we can wait
yes.
a couple of more minutes in case someone else wants to join. I don't know. Guess it's only four of us.
Did he happen to pass an agenda or?
Not really. Um, I guess we can have it as last time. Just an open discussion regarding some new hips or yeah, whatever you guys want.
Okay, one more minute and we can start, I guess.
Hello.
Valentina, hello.
Okay.
Hendrik is gonna join. I think he's a little bit late, but he will join in a bit. In the meantime, is there anything that you guys wanna talk about?
I guess we can talk about the hips that are upcoming and that the SDKs are working on.
Sure, sure. Go ahead and start. I will. More people might join a little bit later, but yeah, go ahead and start.
Okay, so for the past sprint, we have been working on mainly the Hiero hooks. We're almost ready in almost all of them, but we need to do some um, tests and some more work on the transfer transactions. I think the Java SDK is almost finished work on it. They just need the examples. The JS SDK needs the transfer transaction changes. They're currently in review. We found some issues with the way that the hooks work, and we're currently discussing them with the consensus node guys, and we're just checking if it's supposed to work like that. We found some, let's say, concerning stuff where it sometimes executes transactions that we don't think it should, but maybe it's supposed to be like this. We will see. Also, we have been working on the new heap about the simple fees. The work that needs to be done from the SDK is there is a new query that is topic message query. Not topic message query, sorry. Fee estimate query. It's basically a feature that has been talked about in the community for a long time. We have a lot of questions. We had a lot of questions about the fees. I remember when I joined the company, a lot of people were asking how much fee this will need if they execute these transactions, this transaction, and I will share my screen about the proposal and the design doc. Basically, I've created this design doc for the heap about the simple fees, and it's currently in review. I think Simi, Rob, and Vanko have made some comments, and it's almost done. We can start working on it. Currently, the mirror node have some, let's call it dummy data that it returns. It's not the feature is not yet implemented, but there is some data that we can use, just so we can start working on it. Yeah, and I think these are the heaps that we have been working on, and Venko has worked on this proposal, but yeah, it's also currently in review. And yeah, I think this is the work that's been done by the SDKs. I don't know if you guys have any questions about it. Yeah. Basically, the hooks are almost ready, and we're creating the design doc for the simple fees. I don't know what else does Rob do in these meetings. I think he just, yeah.
Maybe can you? Okay. I'll ping you offline about the problems we're having with Hiero hooks. So
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. We don't have any blockers or anything. Yeah.
By the way, Kit, I've already contacted Niha from the Consensus Node team about the issues. I'm waiting for her to review the items that we've shared. And yeah, if you'd like, I can show you what's happening and yeah, to have visibility on that discussion.
okay. I'll ping you after this call.
All right, you can also use the group chat, the client SDK team, if
Okay.
you want.
All right. Yep. Yeah, that sounds good. All right. Did anyone any especially from the Python, is there anyone from the Python team, any questions or comments? No?
From Python, not at the moment, but we were discussing earlier with Hendrik and Sophie that we need a little bit more support there. I know that we have a lot of work ramping up there, and you can see it by looking just as the good first issues. So it will be nice if we can get a little bit more traction on getting more contributors to that project. That would be great.
Yeah, so I think that's a topic I wanted to follow up with Simi and Hendrik and probably you, Jessica, is just about this meeting and how we get more attendance, probably how we have a little bit more structure around this meeting, I think is probably needed, like an agenda and things like that. So maybe that's something I'll follow up with Simi on and then come back to the team on.
No, that's actually great because I think I discussed with you also and with you and Diane about having a location where we can put agendas. And I know that part of this meeting, I think the agenda of this meeting is the one that is hosted in the SDK hub, right? But there's a suggestion that we were talking about last time about having all the agendas hosted on their, for example, the governance repo or somewhere where people can access them and that people can see what's going to happen what's going to be discussed in the meeting. Let me link the issue that I created. Okay, I'm posting it in the chat and I posted it in the chat. So if I can get some comments of what do you guys think about this issue, it's basically we want to have a central location for all the agendas to be hosted, and this will allow us to announce what's going to be talked on the agendas. And of course, I mean, we're going to put information about where can people find the recordings, and we added more information in the, if you go to the landing page of Hiero Ledger in GitHub, we added a little bit more information on how to get the recordings, but we can, for the agendas, we can, that is the suggestion that we were discussing the last time we met with Diane. So if you guys have any suggestions or anything to comment regarding this issue that I just linked, please let me know. We can, if we can bring it to the TSC. If you think, Hendrik, it's a good idea to bring it up to the TSC, let's do that too.
So I would say, so I like the idea of have them in a central place, because this will make it easier to just link to them, to create maybe an overview, to maybe render them on our webpage and so on. If we want to have them at a central place and give out the suggestion or even the guideline or must to the projects to follow that, it need to go to the TSC. I don't know if the governance repo is the right place for that. That is something we should discuss. But in general, I like the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing that we were talking about in that meeting with Keith and Diane was to create a new repo that is only for the agendas, but I figured that one more repo to maintain, so it's trying to reduce the work.
Yeah, I'm not saying the government repo is wrong.
Okay.
I've just seen the issue now. I like it. I need to think about, especially like the government repo. Maybe that helps us to bring even more structure into the government repo, right? Because now I created a folder guidelines, put in the good first issue guideline, but a lot of guidelines are still like living in the root folder of the repo. And if we do like a restructuring of the government repo, maybe having a folder in it, which is a root folder for all the meetings, minutes, maybe that would make sense. But then even the TSC meetings maybe should be part of that repo. So
yeah, that's a good point.
To discuss. Not saying that this is wrong, right? Just saying that if we say we want to have all the meeting minutes at one place, I would say the TSC meetings should be part of it. Keith.
Maybe I'll leave these comments in the chat. Maybe we should take this offline. But yeah, my only comment would be, I also would like it to be in the governance repo, but then that means, of course, Hendrik, you'd have to give a lot of people write permission to the, I mean, like, if we're setting an agenda, it has to be a pretty easy process with write access. So do you want to give a lot of people write access to that repo?
We can do it with code ownership. That is one point. Like we do this in the consensus node repo at the moment, because the consensus node repo has a lot of modules in it, and what the people being part of that repo said, we want to be, like concentrate on one of those modules and don't have the same rights over the full repo, and don't want to get assigned to pull requests, for example, that do not touch our repo, our module in that repo. So they now did code ownerships, which allows you to define that people only have commit rights and write rights to a subpart of a repository. So from a technical perspective, that would be possible. But yeah, it would mean more like organizational work.
Yeah. I suggest we go, I'm maybe just for the SDK folks, probably this is not the most interesting conversation for them. So is there any other SDK topics for anyone? If not, we can probably end the SDK portion of the call.
So regarding SDK topics. I don't know if all seen it. I know Rob and Ivan reviewed it already and had a lot of comments. So we currently trying to create a guideline how public APIs in the, how is it called, in the hub, in the design documents of the SDK collaboration hub should be defined. Like how is the syntax of this APIs that I use there, and then as a next step, how will those guidelines be ported to like Go, to Java, to JavaScript, and so on. And that is something I would like to, well, I already got a lot of good feedback from Roger and Ivan. I would like to even have more feedback on that. Let me share the link here. It's this pull request, because I believe this will help us to create way more solid APIs that in one language always feel the same, and next to that over the different SDKs feels consistent by doing it like that.
I have only one comment about this API guideline. For example, the JS, let's call it best practices, is to use the getter, like a get, and then there is a namespace. For example, get value, but
Yeah.
it's not like a simple. It's not a single function name get value, but it's actually. I will write it down because it doesn't make sense when I say it. So we say it like this, but after that you don't call, but you actually call it like this. And
Yeah.
for the other SDKs, they don't do it like this. And like last week, I had a meeting with Tower from Hashpack, and he was confused because there was some place where it said that it had the get in front of the getter, but the SDK didn't have it. Maybe we need to include like a way to handle these kind of differences in the way that different languages have a naming conventions.
Yeah.
It's the same with Rust. Rust has it has snake case, and the JS SDK doesn't have snake case for naming convention.
Yeah. I totally agree, and that is exactly why I'm doing it. But so what the pull request that I just linked here is doing, it's even before that. So what this pull request tries is to create a common language, how to define what need to be done. And then once this pull request is merged and all people agreed on it, I will work on a second pull request. Maybe I start with Java that says, oh yeah, and this is how this generic API definition need to be implemented in Java. And then we need to add something like, and this is how that generic API implementation need to be implemented in Go, in Rust, in TypeScript, and then make it clear that it should be like you just wrote it down.
Okay. This is my only concern about the API guidelines.
And that is where I then even need like way more of your input, because I think I can do it very good in Java, but in a lot of other languages I have, like basic knowledge, but don't have the deep knowledge to really know the best way to do it. But
Okay.
but that is how we should come up at the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess we do like a guideline for all the SDKs, and we do a separate for each SDK how it should be.
Yeah, exactly. And what we have now is for all the SDKs, that is what kind of language you use in the markdown files in the hub when you say, oh, because of hip, I don't know, any hip, we need to add this and those functions. What you write into those design documents should be based on what I now tried to specify in this pull request. And when you then come to take this and implement it in, let's say, Go, there's another document that is in the SDK hub that is about the Go implementation, and that gives examples and guidelines how this pseudo API code that is part of the design docs should be transferred to real Go code. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah, and maybe the other thing I would like to bring up, I mean, Jessica already said it, is the Hacktoberfest and Good First issues. I think I wanted to show it like 2 weeks ago. In the SDK meeting, but we talked all the time about the HIP proposal. I don't know the HIP number anymore. The one about hooks. But maybe we can do it now because everything we did, we even want to continue after Hacktoberfest. And maybe I can show it. Let me just share my screen here. So what we did is in the government repo, we have created a guideline for Good First Issues and Hacktoberfest. You will find it here. I will share the link with you in the chat. It's this link, and this contains, you know, like our preferred workflow on how to create Good First Issues. We even have a template that should be used for Good First Issues because it contains all the different links to our web page, to our contributing MD guidelines that gives information about, you know, how to name PRs, about signing commits and all that. It contains links to the LFDT Discord and so on and so on. And next to that, we've set up a workflow, which is, hey, if you as an SDK developer have something where you think that would make sense as a good first issue, please mark it as good first issue candidate. And every Monday we have a meeting. Everybody's invited. It was directly before this meeting, where we have a look at all those candidates and see if the people in this meeting assume, oh yeah, that is really a good first issue. And then we change good first issue candidate to a real good first issue, and hopefully have then people from outside starting to work on that issue. To do so, we have created all the labels that are needed in all our repository. So you will find a good first issue candidate and a good first issue label in each and every of our repositories. That is the most important thing for you, that you need to know those two labels. And we already have a lot, especially in the last weeks, created of it. So we have several candidates for good first issues and several good first issues. Here we have the candidates, and here we have the good first issues. And in the meeting today, it was like Jessica, Sophie, and me. We worked on several of those candidates and even moved several of them to good first issues. And since we talked about the Python SDK, or I think Keith asked about it, is there any news to it? I think the news is that should be shared how good the Python SDK is working on those good first issues. If you look at that, it's here Python SDK, Python SDK, Python SDK, Python SDK. Python SDK, Python SDK, Python SDK, Python SDK, Python SDK. So we have so many good first issues in the Python SDK, which is really great. And Keith, just for you today, we even moved several, here you can see, that Alexander created from the JavaScript did SDK, and he read the documents, he created them as good first issue candidates, and there should be another one. Here we go. Yeah, it was 4 of it. And we forwarded all of them now to good first issues. They all have like the full template in it, and so on and so on. And what we are seeing is that a lot of people really start to contribute to it. When you have a look at pull requests that are based on it, you will see that we have several pull requests. Again, Python SDK, Python, 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 in the last days that all have been merged into the Python SDK. And those pull requests are coming from external contributors. As you can see, I don't know anybody of them. And you see there are all different people who worked on the Python SDK and did contributions that got merged by working on those good first issues. And I think that is really a huge success we have here, especially for Hiero in total, but a huge part of that success is really coming from the Python SDK. And maybe that's a message to the other SDKs. Maybe you find some time to create similar issues for your SDKs so that we can get people working on them and get more contributors to those SDKs. Any questions on that? Okay. Just wanted to share that. And yeah, if you have time, please create good first issues. We really see that they have an impact. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share for the meeting today.
Thank you, Hendrik. Shall we talk about the NPM conversation? Or do you think so we should have a broader audience for that?
I mean, we have people here knowing TypeScript and JavaScript, so maybe it makes sense. Yeah, I cannot say much about it because I'm not deep enough into NPM. But maybe you can give an introduction and maybe we can talk about the problem so that all of us understand the problem. I think that would be already a success. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is definitely a conversation that we want to bring in with the release engineering as well. But basically, what's gonna happen? NPM send an email communication that there's gonna be few things happening. Number one is that regular tokens are gonna be disabled, and now we have to move into granular tokens. That is one thing. But at the end of the day, tokens as a whole, NPM tokens are gonna be not a safe way to continue making publications in NPM, and we have to move to trusted publishers. So I'm gonna put a little bit of information in the chat about trusted publishers. So basically what we are doing is removing the need for using tokens and adding the trusted publisher in the NPM configuration so that we do not need to use a token at all. And I believe in the short future, I forgot when, I think it was during the less than a year. I think the tokens are gonna be disabled. The use of tokens is gonna be deprecated. So we need to migrate into trusted publishing. However, when I was talking to few of our team members about this, they were mentioning that our self-hosted runners are not capable of handling trusted publishers, are not able to. I honestly don't know what that means, but I believe it is not supported in the self-hosted runners. And part of this upgrade to trusted publishers also requires for us to migrate to a minimum version of NPM, which it is 11.5.1 or later. And I believe there were some dependencies that I was told they were going to be complicated to migrate. But maybe I'm misunderstanding this wrong, but I think I need to understand if the code depends on this version as well, or it's just the delivery workflow that needs to be upgraded in order to be able to support trusted publishers. And part of the repos that are affected for Hiero, we have the did SDK.js, we have the local node, we have the SDK.js, and we have solo. Those are the 4 repos that are potentially going to be affected by this, and any other repo that plans or is planning to make publications in NPM. So I want to know if you guys know anything about this, or how does this affect us, or how does this affect Hiero as a whole?
I mean, yeah, I'm just at the page that you shared. Thanks for that. And I mean, we will have more projects coming. So we for sure will have other projects that want to publish artifacts to NPM. And what I do not get is why we need self-hosted runners for publishing. I totally understand it that we need it for tests, that we need it for whatever, but why do we need them for publishing? Or do we have just one large workflow that does all the tests, everything, plus the publishing in one workflow? Maybe that is a problem here, that we do not have split it between workflow steps in different GitHub actions. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about it, but one thing that I know is that, for example, the solo project is still releasing under the Hashgraph name. So I don't know if that has to do with the fact that they haven't migrated. So maybe if they migrate and start publishing on their Hiero, they will not need the self-hosted runners. But honestly, that's a whole different conversation that I haven't brought up to the team. But I did casually mention to Roger that few of these publications have been continue to be done under the Hashgraph namespace.
I ask myself why we need that self-hosted runners anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that we use the self-hosted runners for our server infrastructure to do benchmarks against it, long-running tests, and all that. Totally makes sense. For the SDKs, I do not see why we cannot run the GitHub actions of the SDKs on the regular GitHub runners. I do not see, maybe I missed something, but I do not see any point why they need to run on the self-hosted runners. And from my point of view, they can just run on the GitHub runners.
Right. Yeah, this is probably some conversation that we need to have with Nathan's team, because I'm also in the same boat. I mean, I don't understand the need for self-hosted runners here, but
let me go to the, yeah, sorry.
it's
So,
sorry.
so can we run so on the GitHub runners? because I think so is like quite resource expensive. So are we going to be able to run this on the GitHub runners?
Yeah, but look at this. I mean, I'm just looking at the Hiero SDK JavaScript. And if I understand it correctly, I'm now looking here at all GitHub actions that have been executed on that project, independent if it's on our runners or on external runners. So we have self-hosted runners, we have 3 of them available. And when I look at all workflows, we have today. Okay, so at a day, how many of them do we have at a day? On the 19th. Oh yeah, 19th was weekend. Maybe we need to look at something like the 15th or 16th. So let's do the 15th. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the next, not even the next full page. So this is, what is it, like 20 runs a day that took some minutes. Let's say worst is 20 minutes here. I would assume that this is doable by the GitHub runners. At the end, that is, I mean, the FDT is paying our GitHub runners fees. Maybe Jessica, you can have a look at the Hiero SDK JavaScript as an example together with Y and check, oh, what does it mean like from a cost perspective if we would move
proc-
that to GitHub runners. I don't know. Let's have a look at Solo.
Um,
Yeah.
Actually, there's an insights tab, right, that we can probably investigate. Um, Go to the insights tab in the top. Does it say anything about runners? I know the main one, the one in the Hiero Ledger org shows.
Yeah, that is in the org. That is in the org. That is not here. That is in the org. Do I share here anything? Oh, that is metrics. Total minutes. So nothing is seen here that is not
Runner type.
share, right?
Good.
Before
There's
I
a runner type on the top.
Jessica, nothing is here that I should not share. This is all.
No.
Okay, good. Repositories. Here we go. So, okay, yeah, Solo has a lot of minutes, but JavaScript, okay, this has SDK, TCK, workflow ones. Yeah, so the question is that a lot or is that totally okay? I mean, that is a lot for sure, but
Yeah.
is that a big problem? That is
What
maybe
is the
something
time frame that you're got a little bit on top?
months.
Oh,
Let's
current
do
month.
last month. Let's do a full month. Yeah, here we do like, so look, we have 17 for the TCK, we have 11 for SDK JavaScript, and the did JavaScript easy peasy.
Now, if you go to the runner type tab, you will see specifically the self-hosted.
Yeah. But again, so we already have like 52,000 running on the hosted one, which is like for the Python SDK and others, I assume. And if we add, oh, this one is TypeScript 2, right? JSON as a PDA. If we add another 20,000, I don't know if that's a problem or not. Maybe you can discuss that with Y.
Mm-hmm.
that we know answers on that.
Yeah, so we need a conversation with Rai and with Roger as well.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Okay.
I understand that we pay every minute on the hosted ones, and the self-hosted we pay the hardware and not by minute, right? So we need to know if we can pay more by minute. And if we can, I don't see a problem moving the SDK ones to hosted runners.
My only concern is that they might be slow, I don't know, or that they may not be able to run. So can we please check both of these? Because our CI is already kind of slow, because Soul takes a lot of time to run. And if it takes even more time, it's going to make our whole work process like significantly
Yeah,
hard.
but on the other hand, I mean, let's go here and search for Python. Oh, Python SDK. Okay, I don't know how to do that because
I guess you have to look at the repositories, not at the workflows.
yeah, the Python SDK here. So the Python SDK use hosted runners, and they use the solo GitHub action too.
Okay.
So it's not that the solo GitHub action only can be executed on self-hosted runners. You can do it on hosted runners too.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure, that takes time, that you pay by minute. But that's, I mean, that's even another question, right? Maybe we can do a splitting that we say, oh yeah, we have a test YAML that does all the tests for a specific commit on a self-hosted one, and then tag it. Then we know that this tag for sure is safe, and then on a hosted one, we deploy that tag to npm. Maybe even something like that is a solution, that we split it up.
Yeah, that's probably a broader conversation we need to have with other maintainers as well. We do have, however, a maintainers series, right? Maybe this could be a good first communication we do.
Excuse me?
We have a new series of meetings for
Oh, for the
maintainers.
maintainers. Yeah. Understood. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Things like that is what I really would like to have, like independent of the project, have maintainers together and discuss those topics. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Anything else? Okay. If nobody says anything, we're done.
Yeah, nothing from my side. Anybody else wants to talk about anything?
No,
Going once?
I think we have a few follow-ups, but thank you, everyone.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. See
All
you then
right.
in the next Hiero meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.